Another important element of effective communication is active listening. In order to learn active listening, it is important to review what an assertive statement is. I felt sad by the way that you just spoke to me, and I wish you would be more respectful. That's an assertive statement. If a person is talking to someone, they want the other person to listen. If that other person is listening, they should paraphrase, in terms of a question, the main part of what the other person just said. So if the second person says, "Do you mean that you feel hurt by the way I spoke to you?" then they've understood the import of what was said, and the first person knows they've been listened to. That might seem redundant, but it is incredible how often people misperceive what is said to them. If it's a non-issue, it really may not matter, but when there's an emotional difficulty occurring, this technique becomes very important. If the person has tracked what was said, then the other person should say yes, no, or clarify the situation more if they didn't understand. At this point, all that's being given is information. The other person should then validate the feeling behind what is being said, which doesn't necessarily mean they agree with what is being said. It can be validated by their saying, "I really do see that you felt hurt," or they could say, "I can understand how you felt hurt." Or they could say, "I have felt that way when I've been spoken to in a negative way, so I know how you feel." All those ways say, "I understand, I heard you, and I care," without necessarily agreeing that the person did anything wrong. Then there should be some kind of acknowledgement from the first communicator that they know and appreciate the other person listening. So the first person says, "Thanks for caring," or something similar. Then and only then would it make sense for the second communicator to make an assertive statement about either what was said by the first person or to discuss any other feelings about another issue. Let's say that a person disagreed that they had spoken in a poor way to me. At this point, they could say, "You know, Jeff, as I said, I really understand how you feel, but in my heart, I really wasn't trying to hurt you. And I thought I said it in a non-abusive manner." Then I can say, "You mean you really weren't trying to hurt me?" And the other person could say yes. I might then say, "Well, then you must be really confused that I saw it that way." They could reply, "Yeah, I was confused." What we're trying to do is resolve a situation, not to prove who's right or wrong. And that is the hallmark of effective communication. In fact, what is often helpful is if a person wants their partner to be right. If the partner is right, then the person can simply apologize and move on, rather than trying to get the other person to see their point of view. The issue is resolved quicker, but one has to be sincere and honest about their feelings. One of the common mistakes that I see, especially in marital therapy, is that people feel like they are on the clock with communication and that they have to finish their discussion quickly. Because of that haste, unfortunately, they often try to put paraphrasing and validating together before they're ready, or they get defensive in the particular situation. So they say, "I felt really sad by what you just said to me. I thought it was disrespectful." And the person says, "I did not," or, "Well, I just," or they say, "Yeah, but," which invalidates the other person's position, usually resulting in a fight with people locked into power and control. Nothing good can come of that. It is also important when paraphrasing to try to look at the deepest dynamic of what's happening between two people, the process of what's occurring between two people. I don't want to have a discussion with my lady about vacuuming and dishwashing and errands. I want to have a discussion about whether we feel there is equality in terms of the household tasks. That's the central dynamic. If we finish that issue, we don't have to work on each of the chores piecemeal. It is imperative to find the central dynamic. It's important to stay detached enough and shame-free so that a person can truly evaluate whether they did something that was not appropriate. Did I really do something that was unhelpful, or is this more about the person I'm talking with? Could it be their shame and their issue? If a person is detached, then it's possible to speak with them without triggering their defensiveness. These skills can be practiced in a very easy manner by making a game out of it. One can say, "Would you pass me the pepper?" "Do you mean you want the pepper?" "Yeah, I would really like the pepper." "Well, I can see that you want the pepper. I'll be glad to give it to you. Thanks." Gradually, when this is done over and over again in a playful way, people can become more skilled when it gets difficult. At first, this type of communication feels very odd and artificial. It's like learning a new language. But eventually, if it is practiced, a person's unique style will emerge, and it will only be used when it's appropriate, when there might be a serious disagreement.